We're going to look at two examples where we use Pythagorean theorem to find the missing hypotenuse. If you remember when we started Pythagorean theorem, the first thing we always did is label our A, B, and C. Remember, A and B are always the two sides that make up the right angle. So find your right angle. Two sides that make up the right angle are A and B. That means C has to be the side left over. That's always going to be the side diagonally across from the right angle, or your longest side length. When we're missing C, we fill in what we know to our Pythagorean theorem, which said A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And since here it shows A is 9, we say 9 squared plus B, which is 12, so 12 squared equals C squared. From here, we went to the Desmos calculator and just typed that in so we can simplify that down. So in our calculator, it's going to look like this: 9 squared plus 12 squared. And you'll see that gives us 225. So I'm going to come back over to our work here and say that this 9 squared plus 12 squared in the calculator simplifies to just 225. So now 225 equals C squared. Our last step for Pythagorean theorem is to always do the square root to cancel out the square. So we go back to the calculator. I'm going to hit enter to drop it down a line and just do the square root of that 225. And that gives us 15. So now we have our answer, 15 equals C. So now we know our hypotenuse, our missing side C, is 15. Let's walk through one more example where we're missing C. So again, we have our right triangle. Find the right angle and label the two sides that make the right angle A and B. That means our third side, the side across from the right angle, has to be C. Again, we're missing C. So we fill in the A and the B to our Pythagorean theorem, which says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. This time, you'll see we labeled A as 9, so we'll say 9 squared. Plus B is 5, so 5 squared equals C squared. Then we just jump over to our calculator and we type that in. So we had the 9 squared plus the 5 squared, which gives us 106. So we're going to say 9 squared plus 5 squared simplifies to 106. So 106 equals C squared. Last step is to do the square root. So we do the square root of 106 in our calculator. So square root 106, and that gives me this decimal here. We're going to round to the nearest hundredth today, so that's 2 places after the decimal. Always look at the third place. If it's a 5 or above, we round it up. So that 5 rounds the 9 up, which rounds us to 10.30. So I'm going to go over here and say we've got C, which equals 10.3.